This podcast is part of the Pull Up a Chair podcast network. Let's build community through connection, conversation, and collaboration. This podcast is part of the Pull Up a Chair podcast network. Let's build community through connection, conversation, and collaboration.
Hey, I'm Ryan.
And I'm V.
And you're listening to Cringe With Me, the podcast where we dig up the cringiest articles, questions, and tidbits of human culture to review with you, our listeners, so you too can cringe with me.
I'm hypocritical, but at least I know we could be beautiful or maybe terrible.
Alright, guys, we're back. And I have an episode. Alright, I didn't find this myself. I'm gonna be honest with our audience.
You're outsourcing now.
Yes. My husband found it. And he asked me if this is something I've ever come in contact with before.
Okay, you
Yes.
piqued my curiosity. Let's see what it's about.
Alright, so the title is, Am I the Asshole for Yelling at My Husband and Telling Him to Get Over Himself After He Threw Away a Box of My Tampons?
Okay, I'm not sure what to parse out of that from that title, so yeah, let's see where this goes.
Okay. Me, 27 female, have been with my husband, 28 male, for 3 years. We've been married for exactly 2 months.
So they've been together for 3 years, they've been married 2 months.
Yes.
Okay.
And they're in their late 20s.
Alright, faster marriage timeline, but that's no big deal.
Yeah.
I guess that's not even fast. It's probably middle,
Yeah, make
right? Middle ground, I feel like. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have a good concept for these.
I mean, I've been with my current partner for 10 years, and we only got married like 2 years ago.
I mean,
So, slow track on our end.
yeah, one of the weddings I performed, they've been together for 11 years before
Yeah, okay. So,
performed their wedding, so.
maybe we're just slow on things.
Yeah, maybe.
Alright, anyways, let's get back to the post.
Mm-hmm.
So here's the thing. I used to use pads for my period, but was recently able to start using tampons. I have some medical problems.
Okay. I was like, was recently able to. I'm like, that's an interesting way to phrase that.
Well,
okay, medical issues. Cool. Yep, got it.
So, after making the switch, I found that tampons work 10 times better for me, especially when I'm outside. Like, say, for work, travel, working out, hiking, and all the things that I love to do.
Great.
Totally can relate there.
This sounds very positive so far.
Yeah.
Where's the twist?
My husband, Ryan,
Oh no.
hates them.
Well, I mean, I'm not married, so it's not me.
If you are married, I'd be shook. I'd question everything.
I'm going to get married. I'm just not married yet.
Yeah. He never truly gave a reason other than saying he just doesn't feel comfortable with me using them.
Huh? Huh?
Okay, I'll reread it.
No, I think I understood the words.
Okay.
What? He's uncomfortable that she's using tampons?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, let's go. Give me more.
I didn't think it was that big of a deal at first, since he said that he hates a lot of stuff that I do, but puts up with me anyways.
Wow, that's love right there.
Right?
Oh, okay.
He asked that I go back to using pads. But I have made it clear to him that it's my body, so I am going to decide what I use for my monthly due.
Hell yeah, get it. There's no other answer to that.
Right? He threw away some tampons that he had access to, and I was upset, but to keep the peace, I just bought a new box and hid them away from him. He somehow found my box and threw it away.
Okay.
I didn't find out until I had my period yesterday and realized I had no tampons. I was tired and too stressed to deal with it, so I just yelled at him after he admitted throwing away the box. He argued that I already knew how he felt about that stuff. And yet I still decided to keep it around.
Yeah. It's for her body. What? This is so frustrating.
I lost it and told him that he had no right to do this and told him to get over himself. He stared at me, about to tear up, and then walked out. Later, when we were more calm and we talked about it, as a couple, he says that we should take each other's discomfort into consideration. He said he already tried to speak to me about those tampons, and I brushed him off and insulted him and verbally abused him. He also said that if I insist on using them, that I should do so while I am outside of the house, because he doesn't feel comfortable with that happening under his roof. I feel bad about how it all played out, and I'm at my wit's end, and I am in so much pain, and I don't want to lash out at him again. Did I go too far? Does he have a valid point?
He has no point. What? I'm trying to understand this. Like, what is he talking about? What is his? Why do we have no explanation of what the problem is? Just how he doesn't feel comfortable with them. In what way? What does that mean? Is this a religious thing that I'm unaware of? Like,
I have not read a passage in the Judeo-Christian Bible that says thou shalt not use tampons.
Okay.
In thy husband's house.
Yeah, like I don't want that happening under my roof makes it sound like it's like a moral thing, right? Like there's some ethical conundrum, or like that it's something like that. But I'm like, it's a piece of what? Fabric, basically.
Yep.
Right? It's like fabric.
Up your hoo-ha.
Yeah. That, is normal. I think it's probably one of the most common.
It is the most common.
Right? Isn't it?
Followed by pads, followed by Diva cups, followed by reusable stuff.
Okay. So this is literally the most common
Yes.
method of addressing this particular
Yes.
concern.
Which happens every month until you're
Exactly.
pretty old.
Yeah, this is, the majority of your life. So what in the world is happening here?
Yeah, so that was my husband's reaction. He's all like, have you ever bumped into any of this with any of your past partners? And I was like, how many partners have I lived with? Because, him and I have been together.
Right,
since I was, like,
yeah,
18.
so.
And he's like, I don't know. But you bring up weird stuff when you talk to people, so I wouldn't be surprised if
That's
you've
true,
had this
you do. You bring up just some interesting topics.
Yeah, so his thought process is if anybody's asked their partner what their preferences are about their partner's menstrual cleanliness or hygiene products, it'd be you.
I can't even imagine asking that question because it's none of my business, right? Like, it's just not. Like, it doesn't matter if I live with someone or am sleeping with them. Like, what they do for their personal, like, their physical care of their body, this is not my business.
See,
I have nothing.
If I were a woman and I was with another woman, I would ask simply so I would know what to buy as backup in case a situation happens, like you're somewhere and you need something.
Oh, sure, yeah.
But that would be it.
Sorry.
That is...
Let me clarify. I always know what my partners are using if I live with them, and I have definitely made runs to buy them when, something's out. I actually do that pretty frequently because my partner, bless her heart, is just a slightly forgetful person and will run out and not think about it, and then, I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll easily. I don't understand why guys are even embarrassed buying them, because it's like, everyone knows.
It's like,
didn't we talk about this?
Yeah, this is proof that I have sex. Here is stuff that only my partner is going to use.
Well,
I am probably...
For me, it's not even that. It's I don't need someone to validate the fact that I'm having sex. But we did talk about this.
We've definitely talked about periods before because, again, I'm a very odd person. I bring up uncomfortable stuff.
Well, I'm saying, I think even on the podcast, we talked about...
We've definitely talked about it. I don't know
when
I brought it up, but
I
brought it up
at
at
recently.
some point.
Anyway, I don't have any problem with that. I don't understand why people do, but, I mean, whatever, teach their own. But, yeah, I mean, I always know what they're using, but it's not any question of, like, I can't imagine judging someone for their particular methods.
Yeah.
Unless they were, like, incredibly unorthodox and maybe unsanitary. But that's not the case for any of the major ones that people use.
Yeah, so I, scrolled through the comments, right? And the most common sense is that this guy is probably concerned that she is deriving pleasure out of using it because it goes into the vaginal canal.
Oh man, this guy does not understand
And
how women work, does he?
Apparently, it's a thought that a lot of men have about tampons specifically.
And this is why sex education is important, ladies and gentlemen.
Which I was shocked by.
Holy... How... Again, you know, I grew up maybe in a little bit of a bubble in this regard. I grew up in a house of women, so I knew about this even before we learned about it in sex education. But I cannot imagine people having such a poor understanding of female anatomy as to think that putting a tampon in is giving them some sort of sexual satisfaction. Especially because primarily when it's being put in is a very uncomfortable time of the month to be made.
Yeah.
Why?
I don't... And then a lot of other people pointed out how gaslighty he is.
Oh yeah,
'Cause, like,
absolutely. It's very
by the end of the
gaslighting.
post, she's like, "Oh, I'm such a bad partner."
Yeah.
It's like, no.
Yeah,
honey.
telling them that, like, oh, you didn't listen to my feelings about this thing. It's like, well, it's not that she didn't listen to them. It's just that she acknowledged that your feelings aren't relevant to the situation.
Your
'cause they're
feelings
not.
are invalid. Let's just invalidate his feelings real quick.
Well, it's not even, I don't even think it's invalidating. It's just saying, yeah, I understand how you feel, but it's not relevant to this decision I'm making.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then the
Wow.
possessiveness that he has.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not good.
Yeah. It's pretty cringy.
I find this upsetting.
Well, you should, because it is very upsetting.
But mostly I find it confusing. I really wish that we got a follow-up where they explained what he thought was so... Like, I get that we have the theory that it's about sexual arousal, but I want him
His
to have to
actual reason.
say why he thinks it's bad.
Yeah. And then somebody else, or not somebody else, there's a couple people that pointed out the whole term of a lot of things I put up with.
Oh yeah, that was pretty negative too. I didn't like that.
So I don't know if he has any valid reasons or if he's just annoyed with her in general and is looking for things.
Oh, I bet
Find
he has a
out.
reason. I bet it's just
A dumb one.
insane. Yeah.
But we have no updates. We don't even have any comments from OP. And not usually, but occasionally you'll get an OP who, like, responds to a couple comments here and there. I was in the trenches, guys. I was down in here, going through the comments, scrolling through the threads, just looking for
In the
anything.
muck.
I was in the muck. I was down watching someone argue that it could potentially cause arousal because it was in the vaginal
Jesus.
canal, and then had many people respond to him like, no, that's not a thing.
It's not how that works.
So,
But
if
yeah.
OP ever does give an update, I
It's-
will definitely share it.
I think there's a fundamental problem in here that I need to talk about too, because it's the thing that drives me nuts, which is like, if you are in a relationship with someone, it doesn't matter how long, if you're in a relationship with someone and they bring up a concern like this, like, oh, this makes me uncomfortable, how are you not asking why? And how, even if you are asking why and they're just like, well, it just does, how is that the end of the conversation? I could never leave something at that, right? Like, if I said, well, why does this make you uncomfortable? And they're like, well, it just does. I'd be like, you need to explain this to me. If you want me to consider these feelings, I do need to understand it to some degree, right?
While you're feeling your
Yeah.
feelings.
Like I need something to work with here, because what you're asking from me feels out of the realm of like what is reasonable, because this is my body and it's my thing and it has nothing to do with you. So if you really want me to consider this, I need you to explain it, because I feel like there's something going on. I cannot fathom a reason for this.
Yeah, there was something going on. This guy was loony.
Yeah, I guess so.
Anyways, guys, that's all I got for you today.
All right. Hey, just a reminder, sex education is important.
And don't trust everything you see on Google and porn sites.
Oh, please. Yeah, don't do that.
Don't do that. Alright, see you next week. Bye!
Goodbye. All right, well, I'm Ryan, and you can find me on Twitter and Instagram under Build Right Roll, where I post about my professional dungeon master experiences. You can check out the links in the description if you're interested in hiring a professional DM or looking to level up your own DM skills.
And you can find me, V, at Cringe Queen at Instagram and Twitter, or check me out on YouTube as the Queen of Cringe, and be embarrassed with me.
All right, well, thanks for listening and cringing along with us.
And we'll catch you next time with more awesome cringe content.
I'm hypocritical, but at least I know we could be beautiful or maybe terrible. Only one way to know. Only one way to know.
Sarah and Scooter Podcast is a conversation between
You guessed it.
Sarah,
And Scooter. We are not experts on any of these topics.
just hoping to spark something like an idea, conversation, or even a revelation.
Subjects will vary depending on our friends, family, and community.
Sometimes it will be what we want to talk about.
New episodes drop every week on all of your favorite podcast formats.
So pull up a chair and
And let's talk about stuff.